say, one Uganda, one people, means being economically viable. As citizens, Uganda is a country that was even blacklisted by World Bank, colonialism, neo-colonialism, and happy independence. And that is where Uganda fall. That explains why we never went to Siroko to join the regime. Yes, Mr. President, the Honorable Senator Uganda is the chief convener for this public. He gives us the true meaning of independence and also to give us the official opinion.
One Uganda, one people, one Uganda, one people, one Uganda, one people, Ra. Who resisted colonial administration did so, they rose up against the colonial administration. The second point was the plundering of our country. Those of you who need a little bit of history, if you looked at the infrastructure that was laid during the colonial administration, it was infrastructure to facilitate the plundering of Uganda, be it the railway, be it the road network. It is not that the colonial administrators were too sympathetic of you Ugandans or of your grandparents, but they wanted to partake of the wealth of Uganda. The same trend has continued. Just go to Bunyoro now. After the discovery of oil, Bunyoro for the first time will even now have an airport. Not to fly the people of Bunyoro in and out of Bunyoro, but to facilitate those who want to exploit the oil in Bunyoro to bring equipment and fly back to their capitals. And I saw the dictator in Bunyoro during the last by-election. He was angry that Bunyoro didn't vote against NRM. He said, look at the infrastructure that we have done. So this infrastructure is the same as what the colonial administration laid in Uganda to plunder our resources. And Museveni has been a very successful successor of all the governors that ever ruled Uganda, from all of them, Sam Micho, Andrew Cohen, and others. He now speaks about growth in Bunyoro, where he's laying infrastructure. He even has what he calls oil roads, not the roads of people of Bunyoro, but oil roads. So the roads have gone to Bunyoro to facilitate those who are exploiting oil. So that's why your grandparents rose against the colonial administration. Today, if you look at all the statistics, including the official ones given by Museveni, they will make you shed tears. Look, 52% of Ugandans are still using Itadowa. 52%. That means nearly 25 million Ugandans are still using Itadowa, or the local paraffin candles, as they are called, as their main source of lighting. 57 years after independence. Only 20% of the population, and these are official figures that are usually exaggerated, only 20% of Ugandans are using electricity. In rural areas, majority of the population are still seeing electricity as a decoration. The official statistics now suggest that electricity use in the village has risen from 3 to 10%, but these are unverified figures. That's why, if you look, for example, again in the rural areas where majority of our people live, 71%, including those who are in town, 71% are still using firewood for cooking. 71%. and you hear the dictator telling you how many energy infrastructure, of course using a lot of borrowed money, he has put up in the last couple of years. 71% of Ugandans are still using firewood, including many of you who are here. That's why this country is losing its forest cover at an alarming rate. Every year we lose 9,000 hectares of forest, and we are only planting just about 3,000. If you look at the levels of unemployment, and I said I am giving you only official figures, there are exaggerations notwithstanding. The 2014 population census put the total labor workforce in Uganda at 15 million. That is the total labor workforce. If you look at the figures of NSSF, people who are in formal employment, just about 2 million are registered there. But the ones that are saving are just about 800,000. People who are employed in the government are just 500,000. That tells you that out of the 15 million labor force in Uganda, only 2 million are in formal employment. The rest, and now youth between the age 25 and 27, 91% of them are not working. The youth between the age, and these are official figures by National Bureau of Statistics. Yet, having a decent and stable income is the only tool you can use against poverty. But he enjoys it. People who are vulnerable, because he can line you up for handouts. Finally, look at the statistics on simple things like drinking water. We still have 34% of the population drinking water direct from the boreholes. We have 42% of the population still fetching water from a distance of half a kilometer. 73% of the population are walking more than a kilometer for water. Ebintu ebyo bitegere bulungi bajjajjammwe abalwanirira obwetwaze bwa Uganda ensonga bbiri ze balwanirira. Esooka ng'abazungu Uganda bagifudde ennimiro yaabwe, ne bwe baateekangawo ebyenkulaakulana nga leero bwe mwagirabanga, yagendanga wali byabugagga. Kyenva mulabe Kaseese walako naye leero yatuuka kubanga waliyo kopa, ne bagitambuza mpaka Pakwaki. Olwaleero Museveni eyasikira abafuzi b'amatwale akola ebintu byebimu nga bye baakolanga. Ennaku zino abadde Bunyoro gye yabbye akalulu, era buli omulabangako nga mukuba enduulu omubbi wuuyo yabadde Bunyoro kubba akalulu. Naye Bunyoro bwe yabadde eyo yabaga nti temulaba enkulaakulana baleetedde n'ekisaawe ekyennyonyi. Ekisaawe ekyo tekigenda kubuukirako bantu b'e Bunyoro nga bajja Kampala oba kuddayo. Kyazimbiddwawo ky'abantu bagenda kusima mafuta, ab'e Bunyoro bajja kubeera ng'aba Niger Delta e Nigeria, nga balaba amafuta bagasima waabwe gagenda naye ng'obwavu bweyongera. Bw'atyo Museveni ne kagurupu ke bwe babbye Uganda okulaba nga buli ekiriibwa bakirya, ekitasobola kuliibwa bakisiba. Balinga abalina olugendo lwe baliko nti bagenda. Essironko gy'agenze abantu babajjanjabira Mbale teriiyo ddwaliro, obulwaliro obuliyo bubi. Naye akozeyo omukolo gwa biliyoni 15 n'avuga baminisita be bonna, buli omu ali mu mmotoka mpya kapyata, n'abakungu ba gavumenti ne bategeka ebyemisana nti bagenze kujaganya ameefuga ga Uganda. Maliriza. Abantu abamu ku baamanyikibwa ennyo mu kulwanirira obwetwaze bwa Uganda mwalimu Musaazi Ignatius, Abu Mayanja n'abalala. Naye abantu abo kye baasooka okukola kwali kuteekawo political party eyitibwa Uganda National Congress. Toyina ngeri gy'ogenda kulwanyisa nakyemalira buli omu ng'ali ku lulwe. Tuteekwa kuzimba political institutions, political parties, ne tuteekamu n'amaanyi gaffe gonna lwa bintu bibiri. Zituyambeko okwekoordinatinga nga tulwanyisa bannakyemalira, naye ne bwe tunaaba tuwangudde ziyambeko okulembera Uganda obulungi. So n'olwekyo ab'FDC mumanye nti tulina olubimbi lw'okulaba nga tunyweza FDC buli weeri nga bamusaazi ne babumayanja bwe banyweza Uganda National Congress mu gy'ataano awo. Ffe abantu kinoomu kyangu nnyo okutumenya naye nga tuli organized, kubanga kati wano tusobodde ogamba nti ab'FDC abali mu kampani Wakiso mujje najja nankumbi tulinawo lecture. Kino osobola okukikola bw'oba oli muntu bw'omu omulundi gumu, but permanently you can. So therefore we have a duty as FDC to build and strengthen the FDC as a political party and other political institutions in the country. That's what people who rose and fought and agitated for independence did by founding the first national political party in Uganda, the Uganda National Congress. One Uganda, engalo waggulu. One Uganda, one people, abenkofiira mumusembayo. One Uganda.
Yeah, in about 1 month from now, I'll be 71 years old. And I'm still moving. When independence was given to us by the British, I was about 13 years old. And I was also very lucky to have been there at Kololo when the Union Jack, that's the flag of the British, was lowered down and our flag was raised up. I was there in person, so I'm happy about that. He said I was the only one. No, I wasn't the only one. I was the only one in his house who was there. So I saw it all. Prior to that, I was able to see, I'll call it a fight for independence, because the fight for independence, most of it started and happened in Katwe. And I happen to be a person who was born in Katwe. So as a youngster, I was able to witness all the skirmishes that was taking place at that time.
Moses.
Let me say! Let me say! Let me say! One Uganda, one people. Let me say! Next on the stage is the leader of organization.
Study during a means time. And so, Obote's two governance. And then later, the Tito Lutwa. And later, Museveni. Museveni has been the longest. So, taking colonial time, already, Honorable Semuju made some analysis. If we all attended the people's state of nation, we have strong analysis in that state of nation. When Dr. Kiza BESIGYE gave us State of Nation Uganda. Again, also in our response to State of Nation's address, we also have some analysis. The Europeans, our former colonizer, did something, although they put themselves always above us, the Africans. So I'm just going to talk about service delivery, mainly. When we say pre-colonial time, that is during the colonial time. When we looked at education, yes, they decided to put themselves up Because if you went to those big schools built by the colonialists, you will find African quarter, you find very small, small buildings. Then you go to European quarters, you find big, well-facilitated accommodation buildings. So they were a bit unfair to us, as if we were really third or fourth class. But at least services were there. They were the people who brought up even this idea of cooperatives. The parastatals were there. If you went and studied education, and if you were a teacher, you would get out already with your job assured of. If you did technical, you would get out when your job is already assured of. If you were from the university, you would also get out when your job was assured of. Education from primary 1 to primary 7, at least not only now pre-colonial time, but even post, during Obote 1, P1 to P7, you paid some minimum, some little amount that would allow everybody to go to school. It would allow everybody to go to get access to education. But immediately you go to senior secondary, there were possibilities of scholarship. And scholarship was not by knocking the door, but scholarship would just get you there if you went to secondary. Then the bursary was not about nepotism, about who is who, but it was about Ugandans. That was during Obote 1, and even during Amin. I just would like to tell you, I went to secondary during Amin's time, and I personally studied with scholarship from S1, but S5 was already for everybody, not scholarship. So you did not need to look for scholarship, but scholarship would get you there according to your performance. And if you were from a district would also look for you, not you looking for the district doors, but districts would look for you wherever you were to give you bursaries. So education was accessible to almost everybody who wanted to study. Not like this time. Amin's time was a dictatorial regime. It was a regime where constitution was not there. Ubode had a constitution, but again also a pigeonhole constitution, which was, I think it was in 1967. But I think at least service delivery was a little okay. They tried to move with the infrastructures left by the colonial. The infrastructures left by the colonial. So education was accessible, easy. And during the time that I studied, senior 5 to 6 was free. And when you go to university, university was free, and you also get what they used to call boom. Have you ever heard of boom? Boom. Boom is an allowance to make you look like a university student, like a matured person, like the cream of the country. You change from tin box to suitcase. You change from those attires of the villages to attires of already people who are of that status. So education was easy. People now give excuse about our population, because the population, colonial time, I think it was not even up to 10 million. I think the state got its independence when we were less than 10 million. Now we are about 40 million. There is no excuse about our what? About our population. Because we need to plan better for our population. So as population increases, also the resources that we work also increase. The resources also increase. So we have not planned well for our education. Yet education and quality population is key in a country. It is not very easy when we have a population which is so poor down the trench and you want them to remain there forever. The biggest population is actually so wanting. The biggest population is not quality population. Even the education quality has gone down. Yes, UPE is very good and USE is very good, but we should have followed it on how to strengthen the UPE and the USE to have quality education. Our children who move up struggle through thick and thin to the university. Get it even harder because you have to pay university education exorbitantly. We thought of let there be what? Let there be loans, student loans. And we didn't want it for. It has been a struggle in Parliament, a real struggle. It is very easy to take 5-10 billion to Rukunjiri for by-election than to take 5 billion and put it for students' loan. This is something which is very, very bad for our country. We say our country, yes, got its independence in 1962, but that is state independence. Our people are not yet independent. They are not yet. Our people are struggling as if they are not in their own country. And they are never free. Education has become so difficult. It is for the rich. Actually, let me go to now regime of Museveni when he got power. When he got power, service delivery was a little okay. Even education was a little bit okay. But we went from bad to worse. From bad to worse. Education has become so hard. And they keep on saying, yes, people have, the number has increased so much that we cannot provide what used to be provided. There is a saying that when you are born, when you find something, you should leave that place better off than when you found it. That means that as the year moves, we should be able to improve on everything, including service delivery. Education has suffered in the hands of Mr. Museveni. He has made education so hard. Before the introduction of the student loans, we had sponsorship for students. Do you know the type of students who were government sponsorship? Do you know the type of students who were sponsored? No. They were children from well-to-do families. Because those were people who would go to well-facilitated schools. I may refer more to the north. The life of the late Dr. Lukuya, who died of Ebola. If he went through education during President Museveni's time, his potential would have never been exploited because he was from a humble background. And having been from a humble background, there was a need for government support to exploit his potential. It was only possible because at least that neo-colonialism, that what the colonialists left was still there. So he was, he got educated. But now, if you study very deep in the rural area, the facilities are so wanting. The teachers struggle. The teachers do not get anything good. So sometimes they also fail to give good service to our children. What comes then? Can you move? You are subjected to the same examination, where also children from well-facilitated schools and well-facilitated teachers go through. The majority of our children now branch to a school, like on Thursday and Friday. Go to wish our children, our candidates, the senior fours, success. The wish will do them something, will give them a lot of courage to face their examination papers. So next week, they will go into exams. But this week, Friday, they are going to have a briefing. And as for me, coming from Gulu district, I want to go and give them success cards the way I used to give. Unfortunately, I prepared a little for Gulu only. But I also encourage you, if you live near a school, encourage the senior force. If you can afford service delivery to our people better, even if you were second, third class. The people who are right now in governance should feel ashamed. They do not want to put their ears to the cry of the people. Yes, I am in parliament, but we always say the right thing. We say the right thing. The resources which we pool in a very common pool is controlled by the regime. And we tell them, look, health is suffering. According to Abuja Declaration, health should have up to about, at least, the least should be 15% of the national budget. Health has never reached 10%. It has always stayed in about 8% of the national budget. And it is very wanting. Even when we talk of education, you can't move without good health. And if you try to dig deeper on why we should fall sick, you find that water also comes in. Right now, they say about 70% of the population has good water sources or safe water sources. That is not true. At least not true for my area. We still have problem with that. So in health, was it not him? And who took the money to Hoima? Was it not him? And who took the money to buy the members of parliament to remove term limits and also to remove age limits? Was it not him? And was that done transparently or it was done in corrupt way? God judges us for the things that we do when people are not watching us. The things that we do from down is where God judges us from. Let us, for us as FTC, let us be honest. Let us be truthful. Those are the things that I emphasize in integrity. Let us, even during the hard time, let us be honest. Let us be people of high integrity. When you lie in a broad daylight, that I am not corrupt. Who gave the money? Apart from money, who is making the country so divided? Nepotism is the order of the day. The people around him that let us remain in power. I hear they are also starting to influence Kenya. Oh, you are so young. How do you leave power? Yes, power is sweet, but we saw Obama left power. work, they can consume, and they eat, and they do this, they buy beers, where neighbors are suffering, where neighbors are sleeping.
She has ably answered the question. And for the interest of time, I will not dwell much in her speech. We have the chairperson of Gomba, Mr. Abikabai. We have NEC members around, the Honorable Plan Virginia Mjeni. She's the Deputy Secretary for Fatuma Zainab, the Secretary for Environment. We have Farida. She's also a NEC member, Secretary for Tourism and Investment. We have Mr. Wallace, aspirant for Entebbe Municipality. We have Mr. Namanya Nabo. And many leaders amidst us. We will without wasting time, allow me to invite us an interview.
BESIGYE! One Uganda! One people!
wherever we go, we will go in this blue color. Those of you who came dressed differently, we would like to ask you to come in blue the next time there is an FDC gathering. In the recent past, fellow comrades, we have lost a number of our people and also of our relatives. Most recently, the new chairman of Hoima district lost a mother.
long ago, our own Deputy President, the Honorable Regan Okumu, lost a father. But not long after that loss, he has also lost a mother who will be buried on Saturday. Today, as I speak, a party that is center-right, that believes in justice. Our vision is a democratic, peaceful, prosperous, and unified Uganda, adhering to the principles of equity, freedom, social justice, and reconciliation. My friends have taken stock of what has happened in the 57 years of Uganda's independence. I am not going to repeat much of what they have said. But worthy noting is that of the 57 years of our independence, 34 have been taken by the NRM. Translated in terms of percentage, 60% of our life as an independent country has been taken by the NRM. And so, I want to associate myself with what the Honorable Semuju spoke here, what Wechiti Waswabirigwa spoke here, and what the leader of the minority did elaborately talk about in as far as the standing of this nation called Uganda. Because of what they have said, we decided not to go to Sironko to join the looters of this country, people who have let us down in celebrating 57 years or even 34 years of death and destruction of Uganda. Today, the NRM gathered in Sironko is going to spend colossal sums of money in trying to put a case for the mismanagement of this country. We should have been here in full representation, together with our president, the people's president, Colonel Retired Dr. Kizza Besigye. I bring you apologies from Dr. Besigye. He can't be here for certain difficulties, which I am not at liberty to state in my presentation. The journey of the NRM government began in 1986. And I want to take you through a brief chronology of what happened. Between 1986 and the year 1994, NRM spent a lot of time giving excuses. They told us all sorts of stories to try and cover up for their failures. We tolerated them. They told us about the distortion of colonial rule. They told us about the failures of the previous regime. The people of Uganda were patient with them. So that was a phase of storytelling and of advancing excuses. Between 1994 and the year 2000, the NRM set out to put an infrastructure to loot Uganda. How they were going to steal from ordinary people. How they were going to mismanage our resources.
how they were going to put in place mechanism for a fully blown dictatorship to take over this country. How they would guarantee family rule and continuity of one single person, Yoweri Museveni. Between 2000 and now, 2019, they have been executing this plan using the infrastructure that they set out to do. And so, we have seen systematic looting of Uganda. We have seen endemic corruption eating up this country. We have seen marginalization of the people of Uganda, a majority of whom are rural poor. We have seen the growth of a people who earn without sweating because they have got connections with the rulers, and then as the ruled, sinking in abject poverty. Yesterday I listened to Mr. Museveni now claiming that he was going to accelerate the fight against corruption. And I asked myself, how can this man, who is the most corrupt individual in this country, be the same person who is going to be the vanguard in the fight against corruption? Mr. Museveni should know that we have not forgotten about the corruption scandal that he and the Minister of Foreign Affairs were plunged into when they received bribes from Mr. Patrick Hall, who is now serving a sentence of 3 years handed to him by the Federal Court of America. He says, we are going to fight corruption and I am going to be the leader in this. As we commemorate 57 years of our independence, I would like Mr. Museveni challenge him to walk the talk. Corrupt people are actually around that corrupt man. He knows where the headquarters of corruption is, and so he owes the people of Uganda a duty to expose and bring to justice those corrupt people. I was asked to speak about where we go from here. For many years we have lamented the misrule of Mr. Museveni. We have challenged this misrule. And I am proud to be the FDC leader, a leader of a party that in every election has challenged Mr. Museveni in one way or another. I want to say to those who doubt us that we have won as a party. Once, first of all, as a pressure group in the election of 2021, in the election of 2001, I beg your pardon, where Dr. Kizza Besigye was our flag bearer. We won that election. The election was stolen. We went on to win the election of 2006. In the election of 2001, we went to court. I also want to remind you that in the election of 2006, we actually went to court. We found that the justice system that is in the back pocket of Mr. Museveni didn't help the people of Uganda. In 2011, where many of you were involved, again we won the election. In 2016, beyond reasonable doubt, recorded and available to us, we convincingly won the election by 52.8%. Mr. Museveni, therefore, is not the legitimate president of this country. And this is why we continuously refer to him as Mr. Museveni. I also want to take this opportunity to challenge those who have continued to paint a dull picture of the FDC, saying we have been elected several times and we have not taken power, and they think that they are the best suited to run in the next election and take over power. I want to refer to those people as people who speak like they have not lived in this country through the electoral process. Where there is no justice, you cannot have democracy. Where there is lack of freedom, you cannot have democracy. Where there is marginalization and the rule by law, but not the rule of law, you cannot expect justice. Today, we see many of our activists being terrorized by the dictatorship. And as I speak now, one of our activists, the Honorable Chabulai, is unable to get out of his house to go and earn a living in Busabala, where a music show had been arranged, a concert. It is this kind of behavior by the dictatorship that must be challenged. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow comrades, the FDC is not going to wait for 2021. We are going to engage the next year in our non-violent struggle in defiance. And I want to assure you that defiance works. Without this defiance, we would not have got even the space that we occupy today. And so, for those who are starters, you should be full of praise for our leader, the leader of the struggle, Colonel Retired Dr. BESIGYE, who was responsible for bailing the cat. I see nonsensical arguments happening in social media today. Those are paper tigers, my friends. When the call for action comes, they will continue criticizing us on social media, but we won't listen to them. We will go to the front line of the struggle of this country, using our bare arms and hands and brain power to subdue the dictatorship. I want to use this occasion, my dear friends, to call on all pro-democracy forces to unite in the struggle. Now is not the time to talk about who will lead us after we have succeeded in liberating this country. The struggle requires fighters, not people who want to become president of this country. Every one of us has a responsibility to the citizens of this country to return power to the people of Uganda. It is pointless for us to talk about power to the people yet we ourselves are powerless. And so, talking about people's power should be real, and we should be able to demonstrate this, whether it means marching in the streets of our towns and villages, whether it means closing the roads for as long as we think is necessary, whether it means marching to State House, so long as it's necessary, we should be prepared to do that. The time is now or never. We, together with the People's Government, have declared Action 2019. And we are not joking about Action 2019. It is real. And so, before long, you will be taking instructions from us about what needs to be done about this Action 2019. Some negative forces have said, but 2019 is coming to an end. It is our struggle that is dubbed 2019. We did not give a timeline for our struggle. What we want to do is to ensure that Dictator Museveni does not appear on the ballot paper. And if he does, he should know that it is absolutely risky to cheat the FDC. I want to see those of you who are prepared for this struggle. Can we raise our hands? There you go. You may be seated. I also want to take this occasion on the side of the people. After all, they are the ones who are oppressed more than we are. It is the UPDF, and we observed, that are not paid their salaries in time. The policeman, that constable, who does not have a good place to live in as they serve this nation, whose child goes to ordinary schools like that of a common citizen, who may not even get his pension or her pension when the time for him or her to retire comes. It is these people who should resonate with the struggle. And I want to make a call to the military generals, to the senior officers of the army, to the private who is forced to go out of his country because of the command of duty and yet sleeps on an empty stomach. The struggle is theirs as well as it is ours. I want to call on you, my dear comrades, to clean up our house. If there is anything that is still troubling us within the FDC, we have a responsibility to clean our house. We have tried as a leadership, and I want to tell you that we have balanced the boat. The boat is now moving well, and it's now upon you to keep it balanced. Go out in your communities to recruit. The struggle needs fighters. Just the few of us here alone will not cause change by ourselves alone. We need to go out, mobilize people in our communities, tell them how this dictator has cheated them, awaken them, tell them that it's not only sleep alone that brings progress in the country. Because Mr. Museveni has always kept telling us that Kasitamu Uyemakas. See what it do? Yes, you sleep these days. Kumirembe yobote, you were not sleeping. But we are saying, yes, that is okay. We can sleep. But then sometimes we don't sleep because we go to bed on empty stomachs. We go to bed worrying about our children. How our children will go back to the next term in school. We go to sleep because we are worried that where we have even put our houses, we don't know whether that land will be ours tomorrow. And so there are issues that you need to bring to the forefront for our people to understand. Organize our people. After we have organized our people, and I know, judging from our tours around the country, people are getting organized. We want to see this happening in the central region as well. Organize our people, and then we will blow the whistle for action. I doubt whether Mr. Museveni can handle 10,000 people walking through the streets of Kampala, walking towards State House. He will bring all kinds of military vehicles, but the power of the people is mightier than those military vehicles. Comrades, we've seen this happening in other African countries. We can emulate the case of Tunisia, the case of Egypt, very recently the case of the Sudan, where a mightier general was brought down by people's power. And so we are going to use people's power to ensure that this happens. I want to conclude by thanking you so much. Many people thought under the leadership of power, this party would be dead, buried, and the funeral rites performed. This party is still alive, my dear friends, and it's alive because of you. It is you who keep it alive. Thank you for keeping this party alive. We owe this to our brothers and sisters who have lost their lives in the struggle, and so have taken the ultimate prize. What are we going to say to their children and their relatives if we failed in this struggle? For us, it is one direction. And I want you to walk with us, your leaders, in that direction on the path of liberation. Thank you very much for your kind attention. God bless you.